So we're now with your animal development and embryology. So this is the last module in your topic under the general zoology. Okay, so this is the cycle or the life cycle of the chicken. So if you notice, so this is the hen, or which is one of the kind of the chicken that lay egg. Okay, so the hen here produce an egg and it forms an embryo. So ito ay napipisa and form or produce a chick. Okay, so that is the life cycle of the chicken. When you say animal development, this is the process where undergo a fertilized egg undergoes cell division. So we have to first focus with the word fertilized egg. Okay, so this is what we call the fertilization process, which is the union of the egg and then the sperm. It is different from the word conception, which is under the development of human. But in animals, the first one here is the union, or if there is an egg and then the sperm are formed and fertilized, that is what we call fertilization. But when you say animal development, it starts with a fertilized egg and form a cell division. That is what we call the mitotic division, which is it multiplies in order to form with another stage of development. And cellular differentiation, so there are different structures which are developed under the organogenesis, which is the different tissues in order to form uh, uh, an animal. Okay, the development is associated with multicellular, so which means that it is not only under the fertilization process and form a single cell, but also in the formation of the multicellular organisms. So the formation, starts with the ovulation. It is necessary that during the development, it starts with the ovulation. So kailangan mo na ng ovulation period in order to form, because during ovulation period, the estrogen level is increased and produced. So kailangan makapag-produce muna yung mother ng estrogen in order to met with the sperm cell, form in order to fuse and form what we call the fertilization. But here, the next after the ovulation, so pag may na-fertilized egg, okay, if there is a union of the sperm and then the egg, that is what we call fertilization. And the next one here is what we call the implantation, which is found among humans in the uterus, but also with the other animals. Okay, it says here that during implantation, the progesterone hormone is necessary. Progesterone is different from your estrogen. The estrogen is necessary during ovulation in order to fertilize an egg, and progesterone is necessary inside the uterus in order to preserve the baby, which is found in the uterus. So this is the circle of life, or the stages of animal development. So the first one here is what we call the zygote, followed by a cleavage, going to the blastula, into the into the into the next stage, followed by another stage. Okay, so let's start with the fertilization. So fertilization process is the union or the fuse. If the egg and then the sperm forms met, or the egg is fertilized, that is what we call fertilization. But if this sperm and egg form a single cell, that is what we call the zygote. Okay, so from the 23 chromosomes came from your mother and the 23 chromosomes came from the father. Or parang ganun din siya sa animals, mula doon sa male ang 23, sa female naman ang 23, in order to form a single cell. And that is what we call the zygote. And this single cell, okay, in this single cell, it never stops the formation. So it forms a multicellular organism in order to form another development. Okay, I have already said also that the one set of chromosome, okay, the one set of chromosome here is 23, and then the other set is another 23. To ensure that the offspring has only one complete diploid set of chromosomes. Okay, so di ba nag-union or ng egg at saka yung sperm, nag-form into a single cell. Okay, so pag nag-form na sila, hindi na pwede na makapag-fertilize pa or pwede pang ang sperm papasok doon sa cell. Okay, and through the presence of this what we call the zone of pellucidum, which is the one that protect the layer of the extracellular matrix. Ibig sabihin nun, along the cell membrane, hindi na makakapasok yung cell within para makapag-fertilize ulit. This one is the zona pellucida, which is found along the Persian gatekeeper din. Okay? And this one is the nucleus. So this is found along the egg para hindi na makapagbuo pa na makapag-fertilize ng another egg. Okay? So this one is the embryo which is found inside, and this embryo ay naproteksyonan siya ng zona pellucida para wala ng formation or wala nang ma-fertilize na egg kasi tapos na. Second one here is what we call the cleavage and then the blastula stage, which is next after the zygote. So, as I have said, a single cell form along the zygote. Diba? Ang 23 and then the 23, they met and form a single cell. And still, they need to undergo mitotic division. And there is a presence of rapid cell division, which is informed to blastula. So, this blastula, if this blastula is formed, if there is a rapid multiplication of the cell division, which is termed as a cleavage, and they form after 100 cells, or they produce over 100 cells, that is what we call blastula. Okay, so in this picture, okay, this one is the zygote. So fused. So ang isang cell, ang egg at saka ang sperm nag-fuse into one cell. And then this cleavage ay nagpo-form siya if there is a rapid formation or the produce multicellular organism during the process of mitotic division. Okay, so nagpo-form, dumadami at nang dumamami. Pag ito ay over 100 cells na nagpo-form, so if you notice with the blastula, maraming cell ang nabuo. That is what we call the blastula. In mammals, the blastula forms the blastocyst. So pag sa mammals daw, nagpo-form ng blastocyst, which is the next stage of development among mammals. Okay, so the inner cell, this part is the inner cell, or the inner cell mass, and then the trophoblast is formed outside the outer layer of this mammal cell. Okay, yung class, ang blastocell, ay nanggaling sa formation ng napakaraming cell divisions. The next one is what we call the gastrulation. So when you say gastrulation class, this is a phase in embryonic development during which the single-cell blastula develops into a three-layered gastrula. So which means that in gastrulation, the germ layer is developed. So the three layers are developed, and that is what we call and that is the continuation of the formation or the development of the embryo. So during gastrulation, the blastula folds into itself to form the three germ cells. So these are the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and then the endoderm. Okay, so after the gastrulation, so this one, the zygote fused into one cycle or single cell, and they multiply or they are undergo a mitotic division. Okay, so that is what we call the cleavage, and the continuation for this is what we call the cleavage. Pag nag-over na siya into 100 cells, that is what we call the blastula. And if there is a formation of the germ layer, that is what we call the gastrulation. Okay, so the three layers, which are the germ layers, so these are the endoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. So all of this, um, they are well developed, and they are the nervous system. If you notice, is the first which is developed in the endoderm. Okay, same with the epidermis, which is a part of the formation of the testes, which is the epidermis is the first part bago pumunta sa vas deferens. So you have to recheck your previous lesson. Okay, after the gastrulation, that is what you call the organogenesis. So when you say organogenesis, is the formation of the organs, which is the phase which is the embryonic development that starts at the end of the gastrulation. So, ibig sabihin, pag may formation na ng the three germ layers, the organs are well developed. So, kung sa first point sa gastrulation ang nade-develop lang ay the germ layer, And through the presentation of the three, the endoderm, the exoderm, and then the mesoderm, okay, glass. So sa organogenesis, na will develop na yung baby until it continues until birth. So during organogenesis, the three germ layer form from the gastrulation, the ectoderm, so mas na well-developed ang internal organs ng isang embryo. And it forms into fetus, okay, which is the last part. So sa ibang animals, so they form an embryo which is before na mapisa or before they hatch or before sila mapisa, kompleto na sila. Okay, so paglabas ng baby, kompleto na sila because the last part, which is what you call the organogenesis, are developed. Okay, so ulitin natin, there are early stages of animal development. The first one is what you call the fertilization, which means there is a union of the sperm and then the egg. If this form into a single cell, that's what we call the zygote. Okay, the mitotic cell division is still continuous from a single cell into a multicellular cell. So this is what we call the cleavage, the rapid development. But if the development of the cell is over 100 cells, that is what we call the cleavage, which is the completion of the cleavage. The next one after the cleavage or after the blastula, okay, so that is what we call the gastrulation, which is that germ layer is developed. So this is the dramatic rearrangement or movements of the cells in blastula in order to create the three layers of the tissue. Okay, and then the next one after this is what we call the organogenesis, came from the word organs. So this is the process of organ and tissue formation in order to develop a fetus. Okay, so this one, so the example here is the frog. It is an animal, an amphibian. So the first, if there is the fertilized egg is already fertilized, and during fertilization process, okay, it forms into a single celled, and that is what we call the zygote. Okay, this zygote is multiply or during mitotic division, there is a rapid multiplication or the multicellular organism are developed, but that is what they call the cleavage. If this is over 100 cells are developed, that is what they call the blastus, the gastrula. And this one is continued. If the gastrula ends and form a gastrulation, there is a formation of the three layers. Okay, so na-develop yung nervous, the brain, and so on. So, but the next one here is what we call the organogenesis, because yung iba't ibang cell at iba't ibang systems are, or the different organs which are necessary inside the body of an animal or even the humans are developed. In humans, the placenta is developed at the early stage of development of the embryo. Okay, why? Because doon sila kumukuha ng kanilang food, ang kanilang waste material ay doon rin dumadaan sa placenta. So, but during expulsion or paglabas among humans, ang placenta ay inilalabas din. Pinuputol yun sa baby because ang baby ay kaya na nang mabuhay out of the uterus of the mother. But the one that fits inside the uterus of the mother is what we call the placenta. So let us go back with the cycle of the frog. So after the gastrulation, that is what we call the organogenesis, which is the formation of the organs and tissues in order to form a new the complete larvae, the complete stage of an animal. So, pwede na siyang lumabas sa bahay bata ng isang animal. And that is what you call the cycle or the stages of animal development. How about this one? So this is the embryo development, which is like the development or the stages of animal development. The first one here in the embryo development or the fetus development is the fertilization of egg. So single cell, which is what we call the pag naging single cell na siya, that is what we call the zygote. And then magkakaroon ng mitotic division, magmo-multiply, di ba tinan nyo, ang 2 ay nagiging 4, hanggang nagiging 8, hanggang nagiging 16. Okay? In the formation of your blastocyst. Pag ito ay marami na, which is more than 100 cells are developed, that is what we call the blastula. And this blastula ay magpo-form at mag-end, and it forms into gastrulation and forms, that is what we call the Next one, which is what you call the organogenesis. So the formation of the different organs and tissues of the fetus. Okay, and the 10th week, ito ay masasabi na siyang fetus. Hanggang sa ma-well-develop siya, and then, uh, after na ilang months, after 9 months, expelled na siya with a vagina, at ang placenta ay na-remove na because the placenta ay tapos na yung kanyang responsibility for the development of the fetus. Okay, so in humans, the accomplishment of the organogenesis ends in the period during which the developing organism is called an embryo. Okay? So, ang organogenesis daw ay tumitigil ang period pag na-develop na yung isang organism into an embryo. Okay, so pag siya ay well-developed na, di ba yung uh, the fetus is considered as the mature embryo. So pag well-developed na siya, it is now ready for the expulsion and to produce, and that is what you call the fetus.